Good evening, everyone. Preschool and child care providers in Fargo say they're at their breaking point. They can't hire enough people to keep up with skyrocketing demand.
Some are closing classrooms and turning families away. While investigating, I discovered they're now calling on state officials for help. Allie West searched for weeks before finding a preschool willing to take her child.
I actually told my husband the other day, if I knew it was going to be this difficult, maybe I would have never had a child, as bad as it sounds.
But in order to enroll her child at Small Wonders in Fargo, West had to first agree to work at the school, where they have a critical staffing shortage. It's a common problem for all preschools and daycare providers in the valley, including Chelsea Steinlich, owner of Bright Futures Learning Center in Fargo.
It has been extremely stressful. A lot of overtime hours, a lot of stress on teachers, a lot of staffing shortages.
Staffing shortages have forced Steinlich to close classrooms, turn families away, and increase rates. The latter move aimed at increasing pay for her staff members, which currently average $10 to $15 an hour. During the height of the pandemic, state governments offered preschool and daycare providers grants to help retain staff and keep their doors open. But for Steinlich and others, the funding ran out earlier this spring.
It's frustrating that as a community, there's not additional resources for families to have quality childcare programs or even after-school services.
Both Steinlich and Cassie Wagen, the assistant director at Creative Minds Preschool, say the solution they need now is more state funding and state programs aimed at recruiting and training qualified workers for their industry.
We're putting a lot more on our teachers in this field than I think is what is sustainable. And so currently, I don't think that childcare is going in a direction that's going to be positive for anyone.
Chris Jones, the executive director for North Dakota's Department of Human Resources, says he agrees with the solution suggested by the child care providers. In the short term, he says the state will provide more grant funding later this month, though could not say exactly how much. Long term, he supports more state funding for public-private partnerships formed to support the industry.
And if we don't begin to take this child care deficit, this child care deserts we have across the state seriously, we could be seriously hurting our economy going forward.
Now, the other challenge in all this right now is the rising costs for parents. Cassie with Creative Minds tells us the cost for one family sending 4 children to preschool is $36,000 a year.